Hello, hello, and welcome.
Hi,
I, s-
everyone.
I see that we have Beth here from Happy Place Crafting.
Hi,
Nice to
Beth.
see you, Beth. Um, okay, I think we'll just do a little bit of chit-chatting before we actually get into this. You're probably smart that you haven't put your gloves on yet, because I don't know how easy or hard these gloves will be on the hands after a while. Anyway, my guest here today is Caroline from Caroline's Craft Tree. She has a YouTube channel. She has also been a previous guest on my Heart to Heart series, and she is working her way to 5,000 subscribers. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, so if people haven't already subscribed to her channel, then please do, because we can help her get over that hump. Um and I think that what we wanted to do, and maybe I can do that kind of before we get into the actual how to of this, is I just want to show a bit of what I've assembled. And and the other thing, Caroline, I don't know if you did this or not, but I I basically swept everything off my desk, put it in a big box, because I thought, oh, I need elbow room here. So I just measured the amount of space that I have in my desk, just for my own curiosity and to tell the viewers. So I essentially, and now of course it's not all visible, but I essentially have 4 feet wide and 18 inches deep. I also have some stuff beside me. This is like an old teacher's desk with the pull-out little shelf. So I have stuff on either side of me. So that's what we're calling small space. Okay, so my goal today, if nothing else, is to use up this tie-dye stuff that I bought at a garage sale probably 2 years ago. I want to be able to get rid of this once and for all. So I have that. I have my surface covered here. These are just plastic tablecloths. I have a black one underneath, and this one, because a lighter one on top, because I thought it would be easier to see on a light surface. I have a package of dry or powdered dye, but I haven't obviously mixed any because I have enough other stuff. But this is an option. I forgot I even owned this. I have 6 bottles of thrifted RIT dye. Thank goodness they're colors I can live with or like. A spray bottle of plain water. And I'll just bring in this tray. I was in this city twice in the last 2 days. And I made a trip to IKEA, if you can believe it. And this, I thought these trays were so cute. Like, they're shallow, but they're 15 by 11. So I thought it was a really kind of a usable size. A person could even use legal sized paper on this. Oh, no, not quite. That's 11 by 14. Or 8.5 by 14. $1.99 in Canada for these.
Are those plastic trays, Hazel?
Yes, and it just came in gray.
Oh, okay.
So I have that. On this tray, I don't even know what this is. This may be ink. So we'll see if this spray, sometimes spray nozzles don't even work when you let them sit too long. I have mica spray. No, this isn't mica spray. This is that 3-pack of sort of very sort of distressed colors: hickory smoke, walnut stain, and vintage photo. I don't imagine I would be using this today because I want color. I have the mica sprays in 3 colors, also a 3-pack: antique bronze, tarnished brass, and brushed pewter. I have some other distress sprays in 2 different sizes. And then I found that I had all these jars, or bought, maybe I should put myself solo here, so it would be a little bigger. These jars of acrylic ink with a dropper top, dropper style top. So we'll try that. Pipettes in 2 sizes, and an eyedropper. And as I was gathering my stuff up, I thought I was making additions to our supply list. I also have a couple of funnels for filling bottles. After I saw Caroline's videos, and she has a dedicated playlist, I went nuts and ordered a bunch of spray bottles from Temu. They are in 2 different sizes. So depending how this goes, I could be mixing stuff in these bottles. I also have this dirty old plastic measuring cup that I usually use for tea or coffee. And I have this, back in the day, you used to be able to buy margarine in these gigantic tubs. So that's sort of what I have. Okay, that is my, let's say hi to people. Susie Allen is here.
Hello,
And
Susie.
yes, Happy Place Crafting is a cute name. Susan from I Turtly Love It is here. Hope Smith is here. Welcome, ladies. Okay, I'm going to, Caroline, I'm giving you the solo layout now.
Okay.
Because since you're the master dyer here, I thought we should start with you showing off some of your past dyeing projects.
Sure.
And maybe talking a bit about how you store them, and if you can maybe show how you've used them.
Okay.
It would be
Sounds good. So supplies wise, I've got quite a bit of the same type of stuff that Hazel has. I'm mostly using RIT dyes and shimmer mists today. But some of the things that I have dyed is all this lace here. Now, hopefully you can see the colors. And you can have just a wide variety of colors. I didn't do this gold, but all the other trim I dyed. And I get like the different shades of purple just by diluting the purple dye I have a little bit more. And I would use this the same way I use any lace. I've done lots of different fibers, and it turns out great. And you can kind of compare the colors on the different fibers on how they turn out. So you can see, like, it would have been the same greens, and those blues would have been from the same batch of blue dye, etc. So just the difference in fibers makes a big difference on how it turns out. Now, all of these would have been done in the same batch of dyes. So it gives you a really good idea of different colors you could get, but using the exact same dye batch, but just with different fiber textures. And I love the way they turn out.
So Caroline, I just want to say that I have always been, if I come across something in a thrift store and it's white, a lot of times I just walk on by. But I think you've proven that I should not discriminate against white because that's the perfect substrate for dyeing things.
Oh, it is. I always look for white stuff now, always. And I will buy way more white stuff. Normally, I don't work in whites, blacks, or reds very often. So the white is just perfect because you can dye it whatever color you want. So,
And it's
and
probably
this is
oh
my
sorry, it's
crinkled seam binding, and I keep it in this jar. And I think probably 90% of this, I dyed it myself. And to dry it, I just crunch it up in a ball and I let it dry in a ball. And I love the colors. You even get like a variety of color in it because you crinkle it up. Some of it holds the dye more than others for a longer period of time. So you get like this variegated look, which is just, I love it. Absolutely love this.
Yeah.
And I have this actually sitting right by my desk on the shelf, right behind where I do most of my crafting. So I get to look at this like all the time. And I do just normal seam binding too without it being crinkled. And actually, I forgot to dig that out, but that I just put on the cards, the same as the lace. I put it on long cards. It fits perfectly into a drawer that I have.
Yeah.
And then I
So,
have my cheesecloth.
Caroline,
Yeah,
Caroline, do you use that stuff or do you hoard it like because it is
I do
pretty to
use
look
it,
at.
but I love hoarding it because I love looking at it. So I have this
Yeah.
huge cookie jar. It's a really old cookie jar. And this is where I store all my dyed cheesecloth. And same thing, this would have all been done, same batches. This was actually a piece that I used to clean up my messes. So it's got all kinds of different colors on it. So,
I
but I do
cannot
like,
believe how bright and saturated those colors are.
oh, I know some of them turn out just fabulous. Oh, so there's that. And then I have this box that I keep all my pieces of tablecloth in. And there is all kinds of colors, all kinds of brightness. And depending on what you use, gives you that brightness. This was alcohol ink, so we'll go into that a totally different day. But the colors are just,
Hey, let me interrupt. Do these okay, once because you spread them out on trays to dry, do they come out looking as good as this, or did you iron them or starch them after the fact?
nope, this is how they came off my trays.
Oh, cool. So if we take the time to spread them out and make sure that they're lying flat and circular, then they will be as perfect as we see
They
those.
should, yeah. And like a couple, I don't know if you can see the colors
Okay.
on these, but these were something I probably used just to clean up my mess in the bottom of my plastic tray. So that's
Yeah.
why they're like totally, weird colors. But I think they turned out
Well,
great.
and
So,
muted. And there's
yeah.
nothing stopping you from going back and adding more to something that's quite pale, right?
Oh no, yeah, you could re-dye these again. There's even some here
Yeah.
like they're barely colored. I think I probably did these with like a yellow, which they almost look
Okay.
plain, but there's a little yellowish tinge to them. I don't know how well you can see that on camera. That one there's got a greenish
Yeah.
tinge, but sometimes we don't always want a strong color. These I probably
Yeah.
did in like key
Okay.
or something, but yeah.
I have another question because I'm always full of questions. Were all of these things that you dyed, were they Well, especially doilies, because I guess nobody washes seam binding. But do you pre-wash your doilies to make sure that any sizing or starch is out of them?
Yes and no. I usually only wash them if they smell.
Okay.
I'm lazy. I don't want to do any extra work, so
Because as I was reading all the fine print on either the liquid RIT or the powdered one, it says, to pre-wash, to remove any stains or, sort of, what you may call it, how do they word that? To, any finishes or stains. But you're saying that you don't unless there's a smell.
well, I think because we're dealing with vintage items, there's not going to be any of that stuff left in them.
Yeah.
And I think when
Yes.
they give you
Okay, good point.
directions on dyes like that, they're meaning like new fabrics, new clothing, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I honestly can't be bothered. So
Yeah.
I'm a
No,
lazy crafter when I can be.
yeah. Okay, I have some other questions that maybe I want to know the answers to, and probably the viewers do too. Oh, and by the way, of course, this replay will be available on Caroline's channel after probably later today or tomorrow. As well as, of course, the replay on any live is available for anyone who couldn't be here. And we certainly appreciate those of you who are living, breathing, alive with us right now. And I want to say hi to Sharon Beach. That is not a name that I know. So, Caroline, do you know Sharon?
I not offhand, but maybe I might recognize like a channel name or
Maybe
something.
she knows you. Yeah. Anyway, welcome, Sharon. Okay, so
unless it's my sister, but that's not her last name, so I don't know. Maybe she's incognito or something.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that on one of these bottles, so you tell me your opinion here. It says, now depending on the composition of the thing that the person is dyeing, it said to either add salt or vinegar. Have you ever done that?
No, I have not. But I know vinegar sometimes will set the dye into something.
Yes.
But I've never had issues, but then we don't wash our journals and stuff, so we don't really need to set the ink or something. And vinegar will also soften stuff, I believe. Like if you wash something in vinegar and water, it'll help soften it.
Yeah. Yeah, because we know that not every doily is created equal either. Some are use kind of a coarse. Sharon is saying that she's a recent subscriber to Thrifty Canucks, and nice to meet us both. Well, welcome.
Good to meet you, Sharon.
Okay, so see, and Beth is saying that she watches those videos and drools and plots about moving to Canada.
Well,
that's great.
Well, if you're ever in Canada, look me up and we'll go thrifting.
Yeah, or me. Caroline is in British Columbia and I'm in Alberta. Okay, so is that enough chit chat? Do you want to start leading the process here? I'm going to make you big so people can see what you're doing. And whoops, wrong person. Okay, whoops. Jeez.
There you go.
There we are.
I knew you would get it. So the one thing that I like to do when I'm going to dye, and when I dye, I do huge batches. So this is going to be really small batch compared to what I do. But I like to pull out all my white stuff or stuff that I want to dye, and I'll divide it up. So then that way, like this one will be purple, the next bag will be blue, then I'll do a green bag, etc. Just so then I end up with all the colors. My main color today is going to be purple. So I've got a whole bunch of
Good
stuff
choice,
that I'm
girl.
going to try and do. We'll see how it goes. And this is my first time dyeing since I've moved. So it's kind of something new on the setup and whatnot. And I've got a few special things that I want to try over time today. So I have some burlap. Now because it's brown, I don't know how it's going to dye, but we'll find out. I've got this gold colored flower applique type thing. It was a piece of lace. So I'm going to try dyeing that because I want to see how much color will actually go into this gold. And I have this weird silver trim, which again, I don't know if
Okay,
it's going to dye,
Caroline,
but we'll experiment.
stop for a second. So you
Okay.
mean to say that your little bag there of mixed stuff is how you approach. So you don't pick a whole bunch of doilies and do them color by color and then pick a whole bunch of seam binding and do it color by color. You decide on the color and then you do everything that you want to do in that color. Is that
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah,
saying?
that's what I do. Just because then
Oh,
I don't have to clean up as often. Because all this will get
okay. Well, I
done with the
wasn't
same
prepared
color
for
of
that.
purple.
So,
And then I might spray it a little bit with other stuff. Who knows?
yeah.
I kind of
And
just
and
whatever I
yeah.
feel as I'm going along.
Okay, so I'm going to have to regroup so I can catch up with you. So the other thing I just wanted to say to you and to anyone who's listening, I am so glad that you are a brave soul and willing to experiment and be brave because let's face it, sometimes some of us are kind of cowardly and chickens and we only do safe stuff.
Well, I'm pretty used to
Okay,
making a fool out of
carry on.
myself, so I should be okay. Now, the first thing I want to do is going to be an experimental thing because I need it to sit for a while. So I'm going to do that like first off. Now I got about, I don't know, 10 or 12 of these little crochet in thread rolls of stuff. And I want to try making it into a variegated color. And I want it to sit. I've never done this before, so we're going to see. But what I want to do, I'm going to use a pint jar for this. And I'm just going to open up my purple dye. I'm just going to dump a bit in there. I don't want too much. No, probably more than that. Just enough to kind of cover the bottom of that jar.
Now, Caroline, that stuff that you just poured in there has already been diluted with water. It's not straight dye, right?
It's the RIT dye. It's about half and half. So the color should still be quite intense.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to plop it in there. And I'm going to see, I might have to put more in there. I don't know, you probably can't really see. But my thought is that dye is going to, the thread is going to pull that dye up and into it. So we'll see. That's going to be something that's going to have to just sit aside and we'll see. Now,
yeah,
maybe I can pull it out because
some,
you can already see the dye being pulled up into that thread. And that's what I want.
I did something similar with that with a spool of or just one of those bandages, those first aid bandages that you sometimes get. without unrolling it, I put it in a, probably the measuring cup. And yes, osmosis makes it pull up the color.
Yeah, because
But
at
of
the
course,
end, I'm hoping to do this purple and yellow is my plan at this point. And already looking, it's gone up about a good third of the way up that spool already. But I want it to sink in because it's got to
Okay.
go through all those layers of thread. So I'm just going to set that aside, let it just sit there for a bit. Now, I've got all kinds of stuff to dye, as you've seen. And I'm going to start with just a couple pieces that I know will be easily dyed. So let's just start with a few things like this. And I've got a tray beside me. So once I dye something, I will set it over there, just crumple it up on the tray. But this is just one of those Ziploc containers, and I'm just going to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pour actually all my purple dye right into there because it's going to take a while or a little bit of this.
Caroline, do
Yep.
you wring things out when you're taking them out of the dye?
Yes, I do. But I'll
Okay.
just drop them in and I'll just let them sit. And I'll
so
turn
you
them
throw everything in
around,
at
I'll
once.
mix them up. And I can already tell I'm going to have to mix up more dye because I've almost used up all of that. Now you can see how quickly some of this absorbed and like this didn't. Like this hasn't absorbed a lot of the dye as of yet. Something like this, you could wet it first, most definitely, and then do that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll just mix this around in here. And like this piece, it dyed really quick. And then I'll just squish out what I can.
Was that cotton?
It was some kind of trim that was
that piece
I think
cotton?
it was on a pillowcase or something at one time. But it was a real cute little piece. So I'll squeeze out what I can.
Remind people. Yeah. Let's remind
and then I'll throw it over on my tray.
Yeah. Let's remind people that this is like painting a wall, that the colors will tend to dry lighter than they are when they're wet.
They do dry a little bit lighter, yep.
I'm going to just share the screen because I'm doing something here as you're talking, and I want your opinion on I squirted this tie-dye, and this is kind of what I got full strength. Is this, do you think, going to be pretty like, is this kind of very dark is what I guess I'm trying to say?
Well, it's going to totally depend on what you want to use it for. I would always start out a bit darker because what I will do sometimes, like I've used up all my purple already, but I could use half of the bottle and then I could fill it up with water again. And then it would be lighter and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That's how I got the different colors of lace in the different colors and whatnot. So.
Yeah.
But also when I'm dyeing, like this piece here, I don't know if you can see, like there is lighter, here is lighter, here is lighter. Yeah. I don't worry about that because it just gives it that little bit extra character. Like here, it's still almost white there. That's fine. I don't care. I'll just leave it like that, and then it'd be kind of a multi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably don't fool around with little scraps like this, do you?
Oh yeah, I do. I do all kinds of stuff. Oh, I've got some scrappy bits coming up. Oh.
Okay.
And then just, this will be a nice lilac type color when it's done. And things like this, if you spray it with water.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
and you wet
Well,
it
and
first,
I
then
don't,
it'll absorb the ink that much better, or the dye.
yeah. So, um, I don't know what it is about me, or maybe, and my fingernails are not long. I don't consider them long. I already have a hole in my glove, so I'm going to have a purple middle finger, or
You
no,
will,
index
yeah.
finger.
But this is like, this will be a beautiful lilac color for sure when it's dry. And it was kind of like a kind of a crunchy big piece of lace. So something that I'm
Oh, yeah,
anxious
I
to
know what
try
you.
is I have this here. Now it's some kind of yarn, but it's like really fluffy and frilly. So it's going to be interesting to see how this dyes up. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix up some more purple dye right now. I'm just going to put some directly from my bottle into here. And then I'm just
Keep
gonna, I got a
forgetting to
pint jar of
spray my
just
stuff.
tap water and dump that in there and make lots of purple. So something like this here, because it's I don't know, for a better poofy, for a better choice of words. I don't know how it's going to dry, but I think once it's dry, I can poof it back up just by running my fingers on it. But that actually
So,
looks quite cute.
yeah, and if it's a long piece of yarn or seam binding or whatever, I think you told me at one point that you use like a drying rack?
I'd leave it on these
Probably not.
trays and just let it dry. I have
Oh,
hung it up on my clothes rack, but I do no longer have the clothes rack anymore because I didn't bring it with
okay.
me. So now this stuff was kind of a gray color, and it's going to be interesting because it looks like it's going to dye, but it's going to be like quite a dark purple. I think because it was gray. Oh, no, I lied. It's going to just be a really nice purple color.
Oh, hi, Carrie. Carrie the paper monkey is
Hi,
here.
Carrie. So even though that was
Carrie,
gray, that dyed really nice. You wouldn't know that it was gray.
yeah.
And then we have some of what they call this gimp or something like that, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's just because I had stuff laying around and I just gathered all my stuff this morning, and last night I gathered some.
Yeah.
I'm just going to dip it in there. And again, just squeeze it out and just wait. And I'll show you the tray that I'm putting it on in a few minutes here when I get more stuff on it. But most things dye so nice. They really, really do. And not a lot of work, really. It is a messy
Yeah.
job, yes, for sure. But that's going to look really nice.
I just want to show people, whoops, that this was a piece of twill tape, which we know is probably 100% cotton. So that takes the color really nicely as well. And again, just basically a scrap piece.
Yeah.
Sometimes when maybe I don't drink my whole coffee, and I'm certainly not a crazy coffee girl like Carrie, the paper monkey, who loves it strong and often and so on. Um, Sometimes if I have a package of seam binding, I'll just throw it into the dregs of my coffee. And if it maybe is a fabric scrap, like whatchamacallit, calico or something, just that stuff that we use. If I leave it all bunched up, say on the kitchen cupboard, besides where my mug was, it will pick up the dye differently because the dye will migrate to the part that, like, I don't know if it goes down if the color goes down as it's drying, and it will end up being, it will almost look variegated. Okay, and
Yeah.
here's the white, what is this?
Oh,
Rickrack.
the Rick Rack. Yeah. Yeah. Like I
So
find sometimes, like when you leave it crumpled up or something, I think because the dye is sitting in places longer, therefore
yeah,
the color gets a little more intense.
yeah. See, if we would have paid attention in science class, we would know what that's called.
We would, but and this was a shirt that I thrifted at the thrift store one time. It was white. And when I first seen it, I thought fishnet. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
So I've been using it in any sea journals, mermaid journals, etc. that I make.
Now, we should also point out that anything that a person uses, trays or containers, if they're plastic, they will be probably permanently stained.
Oh
So,
yes,
Caroline,
for sure.
am I going to cause problems for myself if I let this stuff dry sort of all piled up here?
No, mine's all piled up. It'll be all piled up on my tray.
Okay. So if anything, if something is slower to dry, it might transfer a bit of color to something underneath, but we don't care because that's just going to add interest.
Exactly. That's my thinking on it. Just
Now,
trying to get some.
I know, sorry, you love Glimmer Mist. I don't even know what that is or have any. But if I wanted a bit of sparkle, would it be now that while it's damp, that I add the sparkle? Like through
You
a
can
mica
do
spray?
either. I usually just end up spraying it on, and I'll sometimes just spray it when it's on my tray.
Okay,
Depends
so
on
I
how
put,
much shimmer I want on it.
so should I try one of the mica sprays just to see what happens?
Sure. So I've got a whole bunch of different kinds of lace and trims here, and I wanted to put them all in at one time. So then that way you could see how easily and the different colors you get. Like this is like a seam binding type lace, and it's kind of really like crunchy. I've got some gold, I've got some crocheted stuff, some eyelet trim, and just different weird things because they all absorb it at different speeds, and you get such a wide range of colors when you're done. But yet you can see that they're all in the same bath together. Hopefully I've got enough dye in here to get all this wet. But this is kind of why I will do my batches, like and do all my purples and all my yellows, all my oranges, whatever, because it's just less cleanup.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay,
I'm
gonna share the screen again because I just sprayed some, what did I use? Antique bronze. And I think I maybe spoiled the look. I don't know, or maybe you can't even see.
Yeah, I
like
can't
on
really
here. And then,
see. But
okay, so probably that would be more evident when it's dry, or it won't show because
it
it's
will
such
be
a dark
different when
color.
it dries, most definitely.
Okay.
And actually, I'll
Now,
probably do a video in a couple days on all the stuff I've dyed today after it's dry, just so everybody can see.
yeah. Now I have little splotches of the mica spray, so now would be a good time to drag something through it as a
Yep,
cleanup,
for
right?
sure. So I've got all these different laces. I'm going to wring out as much as I can. Just going to move that off to the side, and you can see the difference in the colors of all this purple stuff. So you can see how some absorbed it so much better. This here was a very old lace, so the material probably wasn't as synthetic as some of the other was. And then this one here is like a crocheted one. You can see that it really absorbed it, where you get more, I don't know if it's made out of rayon or nylon or what, but you can just see the difference in the colors.
I was
And then this
surprised that when I was reading the RIT bottle and even the powdered RIT dye, that they talked about all these synthetic fibers. So it looks like and even wool for that matter. It seems like the dye is formulated to work on virtually any kind of stuff. It's just that, it will absorb differently.
Well, exactly, yeah. And you can see this one that had the gold, it didn't even color the gold. And that's why I'm thinking that gold flower I have might not even work. Yeah. But that gives you a good idea of different laces, how the dye, this exact same dye, the same batch, looks so different.
But that looks really nice. It's like the gold was a resist almost.
Yeah, yep. So it's great to end up with a good variety of stuff. Now, I'm going to try this gold flower because I want to know what it's going to do. I can't hold myself back. And looking at it, I'm going to say it's not going to do very much. And this might be something that maybe it needs to sit. So I'm just going to leave that sitting in the corner for a little bit.
Oh, maybe,
while I do a couple other things.
Why don't we check on your crochet ball?
Sure. It's actually absorbed all the purple. It's gone up about that much.
So if
now,
you want the rest
has it
to be
gone
yellow,
all the way through the thread? I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little more purple in there. So I'm just going to pour some of this in there, just a little tiny bit. So I would like it to go up about halfway up the ball. So we'll put in a bit of purple, and hopefully you can see. I don't know if I'm off camera or not, but I'm going to add about the same amount of water. And I'm just going to pop that back in there, and we'll see what happens. I know you can't really see it because I can't really tip it on its side, but we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if it does, and then I'll try the yellow on the top. So I got this pink and white trim, so I'm anxious to see what the pink does on there, if it stays similar or... And my advice to anybody, if you're doing this, dye whatever. If it's going to turn out, it'll be usable one way or the other. Might not be the perfect, but it'll be fun to try different things.
Susie is saying, I love experimentals. I'm not an experimental person, but I love that you do it for me. Kudos.
Yeah. Okay, so these are just...
Oh, sorry.
We got some rickrack and some small gimp. This is the pink one that I just did. And interesting that, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but the pink turned out to be a darker purple. So you can see that it's different color on there. So that's kind of interesting. And it looks kind of cool. So And let's see if the flower is doing anything. And I'm going to say it has changed color. It's not quite as gold, but it's not really purple. The back is a little bit purplish. But once this dries, I can compare it to one that hasn't been dyed
Yes.
and then see what
Now,
the actual difference is. So we'll see.
well, and we were talking before we went on air too that there's also the possibility of sort of spot dyeing some parts either with a paintbrush or
Yes.
a dropper thing or whatever. Okay, Sharon has a question. She's asking, do you rinse the pieces after applying the dye or do you leave them unrinsed?
I don't rinse mine. I know they say that if you rinse them in cold water, it helps set the dye. So you definitely could do that. I don't because I'm lazy. So, and none of this is going to be washed.
Yeah.
I tend not to wash my journals anyways. But if it was going to be in something that might get wet or something, I might do that.
Oh, Jonna is here. Hi, Jonna.
Hi.
And I'm curious with the people who are here watching, are the people who are here, are you watching or are you getting down and dirty with us? That's what I want to know.
And here was that silver lace that I did, and it doesn't look like it's absorbing. Maybe around where the wire is wrapped around. So we'll see what happens with that piece. I'm not very hopeful that it's going to work, but you never know. Well, we'll see. We'll leave it on my tray. Then we're going to try some burlap.
I had a bit of the purple left on my tray, and again, I'm working probably very meekly here with this tiny little thing and this very shallow thing. So I squirted in some of this blue tie-dye, and now I'm going to try this that has it's just regular white lace with a blue satin ribbon kind of running through it. So I'm hoping that will. Now this looks almost like a Payne's gray color here. Well, you probably can't see that. It almost looks like a Payne's gray. But honestly, Caroline, I went into this with a totally open mind, thinking that even because it's my first foray into doing this, that regardless of how things turn out, I'm going to love them all and they will have a use. Like I'm thinking if it was a real bad, like a color experiment gone bad, then a person could, use it up in a grungy journal or, a real shabby looking one.
Well, and sometimes when things look ugly or something in a big piece, when you cut it smaller, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
And so here's this burlap. It's kind of not purple. It's kind of more of a maroon type color, but it actually dyed very nice.
So I'm going to have to make a note for that. Note to do that.
Now, this was something new, and I have no idea what it is. It's like a very soft tulle type stuff. And I got a big roll of it. So here goes this.
Isn't that the stuff that they use to gather lace? Because when I take gathered lace apart,
no, this is way too soft. I think this is actually made for knitting or crocheting, but it's very similar to that, just way softer. And when I do a piece like this that might knot up, I don't mush it around too much because I don't want it to get big knots in it. So I try to very carefully move it around in the thing, but this actually took the dye really good. Well, maybe not now that I've squished it out. It's very light, but you can see how I've got all these pockets of dye in there that I can't really squish out. So this is going to be very variegated when I'm done it.
That's cool.
Because I'm going to leave it
I
crunched up like that, so all these dark spots will stay dark. So I think I'm going to have a couple purple fingers because you can see what ones are more purple. So they've got holes in them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be very purple by the end.
I'm just showing my paper towel. I keep wiping my gloves. And of course, colors transferring to this paper towel. So this in itself is going to be great variegated collage fodder when this is all over.
Yep. Now I have
my whole finger is purple. Ugh.
I brought some of these old napkins I recently got. So I use stuff like that to dry with or to clean up my surfaces. And then, so that'll all be multicolored at the end. So that's kind of something that I use. So I got these big yo-yos a while back. I don't think they've been in a video yet. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yes, they
but
have.
I want to dry a couple of those, even though they're patterned. I was curious on how they would dye.
Okay, I think it'll work lovely, but I want to bring our attention back to some of the comments. So Jonna, if you know her channel or not, or if you know her, you know that she loves, well, like so many of us, she loves thrifting, and she thrifts very successfully at the Goodwill bins. So she said, I guess this was when I asked if anyone are people watching or are they dying? So she said that she's just in the car and she just left the bins. So she probably had another successful day. Sharon Beach says, I just left a minute ago to rinse out the 5 baggies of dyed bits I left sitting in the bathroom sink. Hope is watching. Oh, Terry is here. Hi, Terry. Jonna is totally shocked that I'm dyeing things purple. Ha ha. In the video that I did showing the supplies and sort of plugging this live, I did talk about that very old worn piece of fabric, you know, just a cotton of some sort. So after the video, I tore the entire piece up into long strips. So this is what the blue looks like. It's kind of a nice denim-y blue looking thing.
Okay, yeah.
So these, of course, could be used. They're long enough to use as journal ties. They could be also sewn into fabric ruffles. So.
Oh, okay.
I wonder, you know, probably these gloves are not all created equal.
No, definitely not. But my fingernails are a little bit long, especially on my little fingers. So, but yeah, I'm going to have at least 4 purple nails. So I'm going to try and do the other side yellow, but I'm thinking if I tip it up, the purple might run down, but I think it'll be okay. So I've just got some yellow RIT dye in this bottle. So I just wiped my bottle out with this rag here. So, and I'm just going to dump in a bunch of yellow now into here.
Oh, Jonna said that she got 4. Sorry. I was saying, Jonna.
And then I'm going to put it in the other way. So the white end is in the yellow. And we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
So. It'll be
Jonna
interesting at the end.
Jonna said that she got 4 bags of antique lace and an old Fisher Price barn to decorate for this fall at the bins.
Oh, nice.
Jonna does her hashtag Trinket Tuesday, and she's got an incredible collection of trinkets. And I, for one, have drunk the Kool-Aid and am now looking for all those little itty bitty things. So I don't know. I might have to have a word privately with her, because did I need to start buying more stuff in like a whole different genre and category? Probably not.
It's a shame that she's such a bad influence on you, Hazel.
Yeah.
So this is eyelash trim. Now, I'm sure we all know what eyelash trim is. And this has like a sparkle in it. And you can dye that very easily. Just don't swish it around too much or you'll end up with knots. So you just kind of got to be careful on how you move it around. And I'll usually do like maybe a 10-yard length or something without too much issue of it getting knotted too badly. And it actually dyes very nicely. And it keeps it sparkle, which is nice. And I'm already getting short of dye again. So when I'm done this one, and usually when you pick it up and you squish it too, that dye goes into all the places a little more.
Caroline, I just am double gloving, and I put the new pair under the ripped pair. So
there you go. I figured now my fingers are purple, so it doesn't matter. But that's how it's going to look. And now I don't know if you can see the shimmer in this eyelash
here,
trim.
I'll make you big.
Okay.
I can see it.
Oh,
that's
good.
Cool.
And that will stay there, and that'll be nice. And like you get little bits of it kind of, I don't know, clogged up like this here, because it's moist. But once that dries, it'll all come apart and be just the way it was before you did anything to it.
Yeah.
I have
Sharon. Sorry. Okay, so it looks like some people did some thrifting before they showed up here today. So Hope went to an estate sale.
Oh, that's good.
And she says yikes. So I don't know if that's a good yikes or
a bad one.
Bad yikes. Jonna's running into a J Mart to pick up a few things, whatever J Mart is. And then Sharon said she went to, they hit Sally. So I'm thinking she means Salvation Army, but there were no fibers there. So Sharon, I'm curious about you and your baggies of stuff and using the sink. Number one, are you afraid that your sink will get stained? And number two, do you have a channel that we should know about? So feel free to answer that. Hope is saying you girls are a bad influence on me.
Yes, we are.
Oh, Joy Mart is Walmart.
Oh,
I have
okay.
to call it that in order to even enter the place. Oh my goodness.
And I got a mess of threads here, so I'm just gonna take more than I wanted. These are just some weird yarns I recently got. And so I'm just gonna dye some of them just to see how they dye. I mean, they'll definitely take on some color for sure. And this one is quite yellow. Like if you look at it compared against the white, you can see the difference in the color. So my guess is it's just going to be a little bit darker. So let's go ahead and mix up some more dye. Just dump some in there and then dump some water.
Susie is saying that's really cool, Caroline.
And as you can see, I'm not measuring anything. I'm just dumping it in there. And
hey, this would, because I'm sort of mixing purple and that blue, if I had like a turquoise or a teal, I could be almost getting peacock colors.
you could. I didn't have any orange RIT dye. So I mixed red and yellow. It kind of looks orange, and I'm going to actually try some of that on some of my other stuff here. Kind of when I change color, because sometimes dyes and stuff, they're not really made, I don't think, to put together. Not like paint, you know.
Oh yeah. Look how
So
darn cute
this is that yellow-ish wool. And it did turn purple, but it's not an intense purple, which will be fine, actually. I kind of like it.
Okay, let me see what the comments are saying. So Carol is here, but just for a short time. She's babysitting, so she's going to have to watch the replay. Well, we appreciate you making the effort to be here. Sharon says, a couple weeks ago, I found 2 tulip tie-dye party kits. So I've been using 2 or 3 in sandwich size Ziplocs each day. The sink is still pretty clean, but there is a hint of the fuchsia that she used yesterday.
Oh.
It was now I don't know what she's trying to say there. It was a Procyon dye, not the tulip brand though.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I don't know. I guess maybe that's a brand name or something. Oh, I got periwinkle here.
Oh, okay. This stuff here is it was on the back of a really fancy, those pink peacock pillowcase sham things that I got a long time ago. And I cut one up, and it's almost like a plastic, but not quite. So, and looking at just the dye that came off my hands, it looks like it's going to dye very easy. I wasn't sure how it would absorb the dye because it just felt so plasticky. But it absorbs it very quickly.
I am trying to get a little more volume here in my tray. So I poured in some of the purple. I'll add some of the blue. Can I can go straight with this teal RIT dye?
Oh, that's what I've been doing. I've just been pouring my purple in here and then just adding some more water.
Okay.
I don't normally do it that way, but this time I'm doing it and it's working fine. So I think that's going to actually look pretty good. And I'm going to leave it crumpled up to dry to give it a little bit of variegated color. And then I have a whole bunch of these little tiny things off a tablecloth. Some were stained, but they're all going in there. And these dye so easy because they're like a homemade crocheted tablecloth, and that cotton string just absorbs so quickly.
I have a bunch of those ready to use.
Yeah, they dye so good.
Now, to show that I'm totally trying to use my pretties and be a little more daring, I'm going to use this, which is very beautiful, and throw caution to the wind.
It'll be beautiful when you're done too.
I keep forgetting to wet my fabric or my things though, so it would take a little easier and not soak up like a sponge.
Yeah, like some things.
Ooh, that's dark.
Like these crocheted stuff, I never worry about wetting those because they absorb almost instantly. You can see when you throw them in, that you can see the ink moving through them.
Okay, I don't care for how this is looking so far. Should I dare to spray Distress Oxide spray on it in the lighter areas? Or should I
Sure,
maybe use
why
my
not?
pipette to get some teal in? Maybe I'll try that.
Yeah, actually, those pipette things would work great for focusing where you want certain colors. And I don't have any of those, but I should maybe get some because they would work really good. Now, I want to try
Yeah, I
something a
buy
little
them
bit.
at an art supply store.
Oh, okay. I have some of
And
this.
they were relatively
Look,
cheap.
I've got some of this rose trim stuff. And I want to try something.
Okay.
I've got just a paintbrush. It's really soft, but I'm just going to take this and I'm going to drop purple in the middle. Hopefully you can see, because I want to see how it would absorb throughout the lace.
I don't like what happened here. How am I going to fix it?
What happened?
Well, the blue overpowered both the purple and the teal. So now
Okay.
maybe I'm going to try speckled egg on here.
In some cases, like if you wanted bits of color,
Oh,
so sometimes if you do it, like let it dry in between.
oh,
But sometimes depends on what color you're using and
yeah. And you're also assuming that I have some patience, which may not be true.
well, when you're doing it on camera too, it's harder because you can't really wait, right?
This was some kind of crinkly stuff. I probably salvaged it, which automatically makes it interesting. Now, I drink 1 cup of coffee a day because I don't want to OD on. I mean, caffeine doesn't necessarily make anyone feel better, or certainly not me. So I threw this in my cup of calf lib. So it's
Okay.
a hot brown liquid, but it has no caffeine in it, and it took the color so poorly because it's synthetic. But now that I've wiped up my table here, it's automatically more interesting.
Yeah. So this is that rose trim with just a little bit of the purple dye punched into the center of it.
And you did that with the paintbrush?
Yeah, I just dipped my paintbrush into my dye and just kind of put a puddle of it.
Okay.
So that actually turned out pretty good.
So
This half, I'm going to just
you
dip it right in.
Can you
What was
tell
that?
on the first half, is that color going to keep migrating?
Well, that's what I'm hoping, that it'll keep soaking in a little bit to the rose until it dries. That's my hope, because it's already gone a fair bit into there.
Oh, we have to say goodbye to Susie. She's probably rushing off to thrift somewhere.
I'll have fun
Thanks
if
for
that's
being
what
here,
you're doing.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, this is kind
And
of
then
like I like that, even though it's kind of yellowish. It's a very dirty white rose stuff.
Yeah.
But it dyed up
Yeah.
nice. I love the purple ones.
You could separate those and mix them together individually.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sharon is saying that Procyon, I'm probably saying that wrong, is the dye that she used to use to dye fat quarters for their local quilt shop 20 years ago. She's just getting back into them.
Oh.
So, okay. Good to know.
Okay, another little bit of an experiment. I have a whole bunch of these, I guess ribbon roses, I guess they call them. And I'm going to try a couple different ways to dye these. We'll see what happens. But I got a whole bunch of white ones, and I very rarely use white. So, just those roses. So we'll see how they dye for starters. Just put them in my dye. Oh, they'll dye fine. Can't really wring these out, but yeah, those dye actually quite nice.
Caroline,
but the other thing I wanted to try was taking my brush and just putting it in the middle.
I just want to say to Caroline and anyone who is listening and wondering, oh, is it worth all the setup and the mess and the purple or whatever color fingers? This is so much fun. It's like you forget all your worries and your troubles and you just play with color.
And that's also why I will usually do like a huge batch. Like, if I decide I'm going to do a whole batch, I'm at it for the day. And I'll just keep going and going. So I tried one just with dropping the ink or the dye on the top to try to keep that color. So that's kind of cool. I like both ways. I'm going to take half of these, not half of them. I'm going to take another 4. And I'm just going to dip those right in there and I'm going to dye them totally. I've never dyed these roses before, so.
I think that worked very well.
Yeah, actually, they absorbed the dye way better than I thought they were going to.
Now,
well, I guess I can squeeze them out a little bit, but yeah, they actually dye quite nice.
So obviously it would not be easy to maintain, but do you find that you get better results if you start with hot water?
No, I've never used hot water. Oh. I just use whatever I happen to, So eat cold because then I can have it sitting on my table and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to try a couple of these. I'm just going to dip them in the tip. Then I'm going to play with them with another color and see what happens. Try to make multicolored roses. So I'm just dipping it in enough to get the middle part wet with the dye.
Sharon is saying that it seems that the RIT dyes are really good with synthetics.
Yeah, it seems to work good. And I mostly use it because I had so much of it. I was lucky enough to find a whole bunch in a thrift store one day. So and the other thing I got, which I haven't tried dyeing yet, is these little flowers. Now, I have no idea what they're made out of, but it's like a lace string type stuff. So oh yeah, you can see them just absorbing the ink right into them. Whoop, goes my brush.
I think it's also important to go into this with no expectations.
Yes, definitely. I mean, some things I know how they're going to dye because I've done them before. But these get really beautiful color on them. Those are nice. And I want to do the same thing with some of these. I want to just drop some ink into the center of them and try to make them like a variegated type flower.
Look at this orange I got.
Oh, that's nice color. Is that using RIT dye?
No, the tie-dye. And the thing is, when I was
Oh, okay.
and it's not even a, it's probably a custom color, because as I was said, I think, I don't know if I told you or if I told the whole group that I used the tie-dye once before, and then if I had so many started bottles, I just combined like colors with like and made what the kids used to call
Oh,
swamp
okay.
water.
Made your own colors.
Yeah,
And I do that too sometimes, because I want to get rid of that extra bottle or something. So
exactly.
these are the flowers that I dip, just the center, just in there. And I'm going to try coloring the edge once I switch colors here.
Another
And
thing you could
then,
probably try, Caroline, another
yep.
thing you could probably try if you had a stiff brush is just touching the edge of the petals.
Oh,
Like
yeah, for
sometimes
sure. Yep. Yep.
a real rose, especially if it's a hybrid of some sort. Holy cow, that is quite the orange. Oh, and you know what? It looks like the purple from my gloves might be transferring on there.
Oh, yeah, it will for sure. I'm going to do some
So
of these
that's
just like
making
this
it.
here. I'm just going to curl these up, and then I'm just going to tip that end. And then I can color the outside and make some of these a little bit multicolored.
Oh, yarn in there too.
And that's the fun part of these is you can do 1, 2 dozen, 2 dozen, hundreds, whatever you want, whatever you happen to have. Like when you cut up a tablecloth with these little motif type things on it, you can get a lot out of one tablecloth.
I once bid on an auction lot of yarn. I paid quite a bit of money for it, but the lady, she must have been a weaver or something, because there were other weaving type lots. She used like this first aid bandage type stuff. So she had these little balls made up. So this is 4.5 meters. And she's wrote that it's acrylic. Well, even this little bit of tape, I didn't realize I left it on there, died.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cool.
I think we'd be amazed at all the things that we could dye and.
Oh, here is that first aid stuff that I was talking about, because for a while there I couldn't find my whatchamacallit, cheesecloth.
Cheesecloth,
So I'm
yeah.
gonna do the old osmosis thing here.
Yeah, it's so much fun just trying different things and what'll work and what won't work and what gives you a lot better color than other things. And these ones, I'm just trying to dip in the edge of it, and because this crochet cotton absorbs so quickly, it's easy to just kind of siphon that dye up and just do like the edge, and then I can. The only thing is when you do it like this, you can't really squeeze it out because then that dye runs in. So then I'll do the center a totally different color here. Okay. Oh, and something else. These are, I don't know, I think they are paper actually. I was thinking they weren't, but, and I figured, yeah, they would die really easy. And they do. Not sure if I can squeeze them out though or not.
Here's what I've got so far with it's just heavy with color. This stuff here that I showed you, this, we see this so often in thrift stores. It's the
Okay,
lace
yeah.
hem binding stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Angela, the traveling crafter, was saying that she made fabric ruffles out of these. And I thought, holy cow, what a good idea. I have to say, it was a little more challenging than I thought. I don't know what the problem was there. If it's so soft that it kind of doesn't really want to hold keep its shape until you can get a stitch through it.
Yeah.
But I just resolved that I wouldn't care if it was kind of wavy, like not a nice straight ruffle, but a kind of a more wavy ruffle.
Yeah.
Holy cow, look at this.
Well, on this one, I'm just going to paint these flowers and then I'll bring in some green and paint the leaves after. This is a really old lace as well. And it's very, very pretty. But it's nice to have color sometimes. So. And the purple doesn't seem to be going in to the leaves because the laces are kind of all divided. It's staying apart actually quite nice. And even if the purple went into other places, that's okay.
So, Caroline, because I'm in this shallow or this tall, skinny measuring cup, as I was squeezing out my other orange items, of course, the excess dye was dribbling onto the top of this bandage stuff. So I just used my dirty gloves to squeeze this out. And I'm thinking that this could, oh, damn it, that this could turn out very beautiful because it will almost be ombre in color.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot darker at the bottom and lighter at the top. So this will be interesting to see when it's dry also.
And I think if you, if you dip something and then you let it dry and then you dip it again, it would become that much darker.
Oh, yeah.
So that's always a good way to do that. Okay, I'm going to bring in some green right now, and I'm going to use it just straight out of my bottle. Because I want to color these leaves, but I don't want to move this piece that I have here. Hopefully this green is dark enough.
So I cut a bunch of different sort of lace medallions. Different sizes, what I'm trying to say. So that's another way to sort of make our work cohesive, is to have the same color, but just in a variety of sizes and maybe some lighter, some darker.
Yeah. That's why I like doing the batches too of the different laces and trims, because they kind of all go together, but yet they're different colors.
Yeah.
And same with the different fibers, like the different wools and stuff. They take on an different color, but yet they go together quite nicely.
Oh my goodness, I suppose I'll never get this cover off now. Oh, there it goes. Well, I don't want to do anything more with that bright, bright orange, so I'm going to pour it back in the bottle. Oh, another thing, before we went live, you were saying, I said, okay, so what's with the pints? What's with the jars? And you said, well, you can answer that in a second, but what you also mentioned that maybe you should say is about using distilled water.
Yeah, like when I was in my old place, I had room that I could store all these pint jars in, so I would mix up a whole pint of my dye. And because water can go like stale and stagnant, I would use distilled water in it because then that way it lasts. And I found that worked really, really well with things. But now I don't have a place to store those pint jars anymore in the new place here. So I leave them. That's why I'm mixing them just in these little bottles more and then just mixing it up as I need it.
But I suppose if a person was really going on a dyeing kick,
Oh yeah,
and
then for
wanted
sure. I might even use
colors,
quart jars or something. So
yeah, or smaller ones as well.
so this is the orange I mixed using red and yellow RIT dye. So it's more of a rusty orange. But I don't mind that. Just
So
kind of
this
making a
business of
decorative piece.
painting it on, that's sort of what Kim did recently.
Yes. And I've done this just using like distress inks and that type of stuff. This is actually my first time actually using like dye to do it. I probably wouldn't want to make too big of a piece, but it's a great way to take just a plain piece and add it to something else. You know, another reason to buy white stuff and do it. But when I was looking for stuff to do, I thought, oh, I should try that and just see how it's going to do. And I don't know, I think that's going to look pretty nice once it's all dried up. And I'm going to find a place to set it because I want it to lay flat. And I want to try not to let the colors run together too much. So it'll be kind of on its own off to the side.
So
okay, now I'm going to clean up my tray a bit. What's that?
One thing I'm noticing with the tie-dye is like this, whatever, oh, I should put myself back on there. This thing that I just emptied into was some sort of a pale green. I've emptied a bottle, so I'm thrilled about that. But it obviously, it seems to me that, well, I didn't do anything to the original thrifted tie-dyes. So it seems that maybe someone else had really diluted them to the point that it's so, well, the cotton took it the best. Now, this stuff here was what I was talking about. This is the stuff that I salvage when I take apart gathered lace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, I have a bunch of that somewhere.
And because this is such a pale color, almost like an army green in here, a person would kind of need to have a bunch of this to even make it visible. So I think what I'm going to do is, mind you, if I add this, it'll turn brown.
This was an old linen napkin, and boy, did it ever pull up the color quickly on that.
Yeah, that's cool. So are you thinking that some of these things might be base fabrics for some slow stitch projects?
Oh, yes,
Or-
definitely.
or
That's
focal
part of my
points?
plan on it. So, and I'm going to change colors. So I'm just going to wipe this out with a piece of cloth. I'm just using, like I say, I'm just using these old napkins that I recently got. So by the time you add a couple other colors to that, it's going to look pretty cool.
Have you
And
ever
I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to use some of this orange that I made up.
Have you ever inadvertently made mud?
Oh, yes. Lots of times. And I think too, if you really want your colors distinct and apart from each other, let it dry and then do it again.
Okay.
Because in that way your colors stay separated. So now there we got a beautiful little flower. Putting the orange in the middle. I've still got that little bit of white and then the purple around the outside. I really like that. That looks really good. So we'll try that with a few of these other ones. Again, just dip the end in, and I know you can't see it, but these just absorb. They're like a funnel. They just absorb the dye so quickly. But those are going to look great on a project.
Just curious, is anyone in the chat other than Sharon a Canadian? Because we did want to do 1 or 2 prizes, and right now her odds are looking really, really good for being a winner if she's Canadian. Again, the reluctance, of course, is all the tariff stuff and the additional cost of shipping to the States. And, if the package were to get opened at the border, they could also slap the winner with tariffs and duties. So that's not much of a prize, to be honest, if you end up having to pay.
Yeah, and it's horrible that we can't even send a gift without, being penalized.
Yeah. Well, because, they're afraid that people would use that as a loophole. So
I don't know how well you guys can see those colors, but I think those turned out fabulous. I love them.
Oh, yeah. Those look like sort of pansy colors.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to look like Sharon is going to be a winner here. And so we'll maybe before, who knows, you might end up with 2 prizes, because I think, well, Caroline, say what your intentions were for a prize.
I'm just going to send some of this stuff out that I dyed today.
Okay, that sounds good. And my intention was, because I didn't know how much I'd have. This is my very first batch, so I certainly won't have as much as you. So I thought I would send some, obviously something that I dyed, but I would also send an assortment of white things to dye. So, okay, so Sharon, how about if you send me an email. Well, send both of us an email with your mailing address, and we will make sure that you get something from us. And was it this color that you said was your favorite? Because she said Hazel just dyed those ribbons my favorite color. So, or maybe that was before I added that yellow. Maybe your favorite color is gone now. So, Caroline, the time has just really flown by. Would you believe we're at an hour and a half already?
Okay.
So I'm game to go on if you are.
I am, because I'm going to keep going until I get what I pulled out done. I
Oh
did
my
all the
goodness.
work of pulling it out. I'm not going to put it back now.
Well, I'm game to go on too, but I think I want to maybe switch and try the acrylic ink, because it would be good if both I and the rest of our audience knew if that works. So I'm going to pour this back in there. And the other thing, now this was just crazy talk that I ran past Caroline before we went live. I also, when I went to look for all my sprays and stuff, another thing that I had in that drawer was nail polish. Now, I get my French, my gel nails done by a woman, so I know nothing about, I mean, nail polish and me are not the thing. However, before we went on air, I used the nail polish brush to paint the petals on that little flower. Of course, we know how noxious the smell of nail polish is, so that's probably a reason not to use it. But if you are in a well ventilated area or don't mind the smell, that's another thing to consider. So maybe I should just do one other color or a couple other colors, just so you can see what we get here.
So these are some of those ribbon roses with a little bit of the orange around the outside.
Oh,
which
yeah.
kind of looks a little brownish on them, but it kind of just
Maybe
gives
the roses
the
are dying.
rose a little bit more color. This one here doesn't have any on the outside, and it's fine with the white as well. Well, those turned out pretty good. And then I'm going to try coloring a little bit of these.
You'll also have to give us an update on your purple or yellow osmosis thing.
Yes. It's still sitting there. The orange or the yellow I put in there hasn't done quite as much as what I hoped it would. So I might actually put in some of this orange.
Well, because purple and orange are great together.
Yeah.
And maybe feels less Eastery.
And these ribbon roses with multicolor, which actually turned out quite well. I like those. And the nice thing is I could do them any color I wanted. And I have about 300 of these little flowers. So I've got enough that I can play with. Another one of those great finds. Sometimes when you find this stuff, you got to grab it while you see it, because you won't see it again.
Well, and you've really been scoring all summer long, and in fact, for a few years now at those lion sales.
Oh, yes. Love the lion sales. I'm heartbroken that they're over with for the year, but they usually run from April to September.
And when you sent me some Happy Mail with those unopened Denison labels, I couldn't believe my good fortune.
Those actually I got a couple of years ago at a garage sale.
Okay, Sharon is saying that she likes this idea for the nail polish. However, if you saw me struggling with that sort of maroon color, it's probably like most other things. Some are better than others. That really was very poor. That was difficult to spread.
Yeah, the only thing I've used nail polish for was I painted on a picture with it. Like I wanted a shiny area. So I just painted the nail polish over top of a flower.
This smell is
Okay, on
probably
this, I'm
taking.
going to try just dropping some of this on these like I did the purple. See what kind of effect I get with that.
I think this stinky nail polish has shortened my life by about half an hour.
Oh,
And
I
I
used to have a
think,
big collection of nail polish. I used to actually, I had a small business of actually doing acrylic nails and stuff for people, but
oh,
that was kind of short lived.
acrylic, it really stinks though too.
It wasn't too bad.
Anyway, Sharon is saying great use for nail polish, that she has a large collection that she hasn't used since she retired 7 years ago.
Yep.
And these, of course, are kind of, El Cheapo brands. I'll tell you what they are.
Once
Sally
that nail polish dried on that lace, Hazel, did it become like brittle? Like, can you chip it or anything off, or
I'll try
did
that
it
once
stay
I
on
finish.
there good?
I did sort of give it the sniff test, because it would be terrible, in my opinion, if it continued to stink. So luckily the smell has dissipated, but I will try bending it and see if anything happens. I'm going to say, though, that these 4 bottles are going in the garbage soon, because I don't want to put myself through this. Okay, so this is what I ended up with.
Oh, okay.
But the pink one
look
was the one.
nice.
Okay, there is still a kind of a bad smell even with the dried one, but there is no flaking off. It's fine.
Okay, so here is
Okay.
my ball of stuff.
Oh,
And it's
sorry,
going to
I'll
take
make
a long
it.
time for it to dry because it's fairly thick. But you can see, actually, I'm going to leave it like that, actually. There's some yellow, there's a little bit of white yet in between them, which is okay. That makes it a little more variegated.
Yeah.
And I think when I dry it, I'm going to put the yellow side up. And then that's going to run down into there. But the real test will be is once I can unravel it and actually look at it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do like a update video after all this is dry and show everybody all the stuff that I did actually today and how it turned out. And then I can unravel some of this and actually show what it looks like. So
Well, and I
there will
think
be
that's a
that.
good idea, and I'll commit to doing that as well, because obviously people, I think, would be interested in seeing that, especially if they couldn't be here to see it.
And I'm going to pour my
live.
yellow dye into my orange dye. and I'll use it up. Actually, the one thing I did, I was going to dye one of these big roses in the purple, and I didn't. So I'm going to do them in the orange.
Okay, so what I'm doing is dribbling some. Now this color is called flame red, although in the bottle it looks kind of orangey to me. Now, I think that just to make the color less intense, I'm going to spritz some water. And I'm hoping that, because you can use water with acrylic paint, like if you wanted to thin down a tube of acrylic paint or a pot of acrylic paint. So we'll see if
So I
that
find
works.
the orange that I mixed up kind of goes more brownish on certain things, but I
But
still
that's a
like it.
lovely color.
Yeah, but I was hoping for something a little more orange, but that'll be fine. It'll work.
Maybe
But
I'll
I'm gonna
try some
go.
all
I'm gonna
here.
try something totally different. And I've got. Let's see, what color do I want? I've got this teal. It's the Tim Holt anrhydactic color wash or something like that. And I'm going to try just painting this directly onto this rose and see. And a lot of these, sprays things and whatnot that I have, I've had for years, and they were used when I got them. So who knows, I have no
Yeah.
idea how old they are or half of the time what they even are. So if a person really wants to go tiny, in a small space, you could easily paint any of this stuff on there, because this is going on to this rose actually very nice. And it's just this teal, whatever. I mixed it up for paper. Well, it's been at least a year because I haven't done, this is my first dyeing I've done in a new place. So you definitely do not need to soak your stuff if you don't want to. Now that's a beautiful color. Love it.
Okay, this is what I got. Oh, that is nice.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay, this thing is the flame red acrylic ink, and then it looked like it, and that's the predominant color on here. Then I used the pipettes and I added tangerine rit and sunshine orange in rit liquid. Now I got the feeling that even though I sprayed water on this, it did not, it doesn't seem to move very easily. So, and even though I moistened the doily, but again, I don't want to make the mistake of prejudging anything until this stuff dries. So
yeah,
maybe I think I'm going to try some of these pieces that I did in that straight orange and see what I get. Just to clean this little palette up here a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to do a few of these, more of these yo-yos and see how they turn out in this orange color.
Can you, do you have an inkling of how the first ones you did are turning out? I mean, they're not dry, I'm sure, but.
No, they're not dry.
But you picked some really light colored ones, right?
I did. Well, there's one of them, how bright it was. It was a white background with different colored flowers on that one. So it really picked up the dye really good. And
too bad you hate
the other
purple.
one.
Caroline?
Yeah.
Too bad you hate purple, right?
I know. I can't find there's all the orange stuff that I've done.
Oh, yeah. That orange yo-yo is cute.
Yeah, it turned out not bad. I can't find the other yo-yo I did. It's in my pile of lace somewhere.
I think a person
I know I did two of them. Oh, there it is. It turned out this one was like a blue, and it turned out very, very dark. Very dark.
I think a
But they
person
turned out
needs to
good.
remember that with our dirty gloves, if we touch something we've dyed with a dirty glove, we could be transferring a color to it that we didn't really want to.
Yeah. And I think for the most part that's okay. If we end up with
Yeah,
different colors and one of those
a
happy
happy
accidents.
accident. Well, I'm going to have to continue dyeing for another day or two, probably. I still haven't. I've
Oh.
only emptied, 2 bottles of this tie-dye stuff?
So just it
Which
amazes me when I
guess,
drop these Moffat things in here, how quickly they absorb that color. It's just so quick.
well, and I think it also shows people or me how far this stuff actually goes. That,
Oh yeah.
we're getting a lot of, oh, I almost spilt that. Geez, that would have been disastrous. We're getting a lot of color. We're getting a lot of intense color with not very much actual product.
Yeah, one of those RIT bottles of dye will last a person a lifetime unless you do lots of, when you're doing fabric and stuff, you'd use a lot more of it than
Yeah.
when you're using little bits and
that's
pieces
what I was
of
going
it.
to ask. Have you ever dyed anything really big, like a duvet cover or a bed skirt or something, where you do
No,
it in your washing machine?
no, never.
And no desire, probably, right?
This
No
has actually
desire?
turned out in this orange. It's kind of like a very coppery color, which actually is really, really
Oh,
nice.
well, you're talking to the girl who loves copper.
Yeah, that actually turned out really good. And that's some of that shiny eyelash trim.
Now, I put 2 colors on here and I didn't stir it up. So I'm kind of curious to see if different parts of it, like if that will give me a variegated look, just because I didn't mix the colors. I suppose the darker color is going to predominate.
I hope everybody's enjoying watching us make a mess.
Okay, let me see what's happening in the comments. Okay, Sharon is saying, looking forward to the follow-up video. I find when I dye threads on clothespins, sometimes the centers don't get dyed. Dye threads on clothespins. Okay.
So like if she hangs it up or whatever.
I guess so. Okay, and then Donna's saying, oh, you just enabled me. I bought the denim RIT dye, so now we're even, Hazel. But she loves blues, so that was a good choice. You will use it. And Sharon is saying it's almost rose gold. Oh, and Michael's has a 40% coupon if you want to buy RIT dye.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, and another. Yeah, I was saying that I was in the city the last 2 days. So the first day I had an appointment with an osteopath, my second appointment with an osteopath. So I really am pleased with, what she's doing for me. So these colors all blurred together. And yesterday there is a Michael's connection, so I should get to that point too, I guess. Anyway, I'll say that in a minute. But yesterday I went with my daughter who's engaged. We went to a bridal shop and I thought, oh, this is going to be so brutal. I, for one, hate shopping for clothes. Never mind, something that big, that important, that expensive. But surprisingly, it went very well, and she found one, and it was at the lower end of her price range. Although, get this, guys, if you haven't been to a bridal shop, a fingertip length veil, and this one was just plain white tulle with just kind of a sparkly trim around the edge, was $450. So
Oh,
naturally,
wow.
I said, I can do your veil, because who among us couldn't do that? And I'd only charge her probably $425, so she'd save a few bucks.
Well, there you, yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't charge her. Oh, but anyway, my Michael connection. So I went into Michael's because I thought, I should probably buy some Fabri-Tac. Fabri-Tac is now $23 a bottle, so I didn't buy any. But I did go to the gel plate area, and I noticed that they're carrying a different brand of gel plates that didn't seem that expensive. However, it is Speedball brand, and there's a whole display of Speedball inks and so on. So, they sort of made their name selling inks for like lino cutting and stuff like that. Anyway, I asked the smartest person in the store if she knew if that would work with acrylic paint. And she says, geez, I don't know anything about that. And instead of me taking the time to Google it there and then, right at the till, I ended up buying it, wasting my 40% off coupon, only to find out that no, it does not work with acrylic paint. They want you to buy Speedball brand stuff. So do not buy that, is my message, my handy tip of the day.
So there's what my cleanup rag is looking like today so far. Okay, I do want to try.
Caroline, we're approaching. Caroline, we're approaching the 2-hour mark, so I think that we need to wind this up. We know that Sharon is a double winner. And I think that we can do a little show and tell here of what we've done, just so that people can see that. So I'm gonna. Are you ready to show?
I just want to put some teal on this rose thing. So you go ahead with yours.
Okay.
While I do this, and then
sure. And then I'll make myself large. Okay, so and this is I would say about a 5-inch doily piece here, and it's got this raised area in the center. I'm gonna, the jury is out on how this might look when it's done, but I like the fact that there's a variation from white to the really almost navy color. This I just did. That's kind of a nice denim-y blue. Here are more of those doilies, but you can see that they are lighter in color, and maybe I must have touched that with something else because there's like almost like a pink there. So again, I think when these are all piled up together, they're going to be gorgeous. This turned out periwinkle. And I will probably do the ruffle, even though it is a pain in the butt to sew a ruffle out of that stuff. This was the sort of the, I don't know what this is called when it's got that permanent crinkle in it, but I like the look of this because we know that blue and coffee is kind of a good found in nature combination. This and this are the rags that I ripped out of that old cotton. This was that really nice piece of lace or whatever. I think that this could be okay in the right application. The lighter part was the speckled egg that I sprayed in an attempt to make it lighter. So I'm going to reserve judgment on this till I see it when it's dry. This, I hope, when it dries, might be more ombre than it looks right now. This was dipped in the measuring cup. This part is obviously lighter. And of course, as we go inside the roll, there's going to be less color as well. So that'll be, I think, a good reveal. This came out beautifully. This was all this stuff went in the same batch. So another one of those doilies, a piece of lace, a piece of ribbon, even a piece of medical tape. And this purple variegated, which is lovely. This tiny little blue thing. These purple fibers, so there's yarn, rickrack, satin ribbon. This was a piece of twill tape. This was the doily that I had put in there full strength, and then I sprayed it with the gold or the antique bronze mica spray. So we'll see how that looks. This had the blue ribbon running through it, so I think that's kind of cool. This is that same lace you've seen over and over again, and that little bit there. Oh, and then the final thing, I should wipe my gloves though. Oh, and I'll show you my paper towels. The other color, since I'm going to be sending some of this to Sharon, I better not contaminate it, was this sort of mustardy, greeny color. So this is just cotton. This is the stuff off gathered lace. That's cotton. And then this was the lace. And this is kind of cool, the way this took. The color seems to have been absorbed most by the flowers, and the rest of it is either a very pale, well, it's almost white. It's so pale. So it almost looks like a two-tone effect, even though I had nothing to do with that. I'll show you
I
my
like it
paper
on
towels.
some laces and stuff when it, you know, takes on different colors.
So this is really cool because we know that blue and orange look good together. This is more a mixture of anything and everything. I don't like that as much. And then the final one is this purpley blue one, which of course would be great. And with that, I'm going to take my gloves off and get you on screen, Caroline.
Okay. So this was the last little bit that I did. I just did this when Hazel was talking. I just dabbed with my paintbrush, except I dabbed it a little more, and I love how that turned out. And of course, the teal rose that I just brushed on. I just did a few of the flowers, one of the orange yo-yos, which now you see I can do that, and I can put on a little bit of teal on there. And then this was the other orange yo-yo that I did. And when you look in here where it's folded, you can see that it didn't really pick up the color as much. But as that dries, it will absorb in there. But I think it looks good with the different variety of colors.
Caroline, were those,
Yep.
What are those yo-yos made of? Are they cotton or are they a synthetic?
I think a mixture of both. Somebody was making a quilt. Some of them actually felt like old sheets and stuff. So, you know, I've got like a couple hundred of them. So, yeah, some of it is, I would think most of it's probably like a cottony type, but some's not quite the same as some of the others.
I think
This
that's
is a
brilliant doing
bunch.
yo-yos because honestly, oh, sorry. I was just saying that I think doing yo-yos is pretty brilliant because you have the benefit of the printed pattern on the
Yeah,
cotton,
yeah, and you
which
can see the
gives it
pattern
another
in
level of
them.
depth.
So,
Yeah.
and then this was a bunch of the other stuff between purple and the orange. This is my variegated cotton, and you can see the white is already like mostly disappeared because the yellow's running down. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to turn out pretty good. It's going to be interesting to see how deep the color has gone through the roll. That'll be the trick with that.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of these flowers that I just dyed the center of these, which I kind of like because the center is dark and it's slowly weaving out into the rest of the flower. So most of it's not white anymore, but the edge is just barely, just a hint of purple color on there. So just dipping the center actually turned out really, really good. And then here's those couple that I had the purple on the middle and then I dabbed the orange. Don't like these as much because the purple's kind of turned into mud. So I do make mud hazel, see? And then a
A
bunch
lot
of
of
these
people like
here.
a lot of people like dark purple for Halloween projects
Yes,
too.
yeah. And the same with these. The purple isn't quite as purple now, but they're still nice. So if I really wanted the inside to be purple, I think I would let it dry and then do a different color around the edge. And then this lace where I just dabbed the color in the middle, but then this half I dipped in it. And those turned out really, really good. And then, oh,
Sharon is
there's,
saying that's beautiful mud.
yes, it is. And then this stuff is very, very coppery color, which is nice. And then here's that big orange rose, which turned out pretty good. And you can, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but the tips of the orange or the tip of the ribbon is like very darker compared to the rest of the rose. So that'll be good.
And it looks good because it adds depth.
It does, yeah. And then just an old napkin that I dyed in the orange. Again, a very coppery color. And then a few of these, just the plain ones. I love how these ones turned out with a little bit of orange and the purple. Very nice. Like those. Like those a lot. And then here's my big purple tray. And I will dry these right on these trays. They will stay, I'll leave this all piled up and then I'll turn it over a little bit and show this stuff. This is that purpley stuff that's kind of like the edging of lace. And it's going to have some really dark purple spots with the really light purple on there. Whole bunch of these. And I'll probably spread these out at some point just so then they dry quicker. So just a whole bunch of just the regular purple ones. We got this piece of the lace that I painted with the brush. It's looking really, really nice. And I'll make sure that stays flat while I'm drying it. This here gold rose, it's more of a, I don't know, it's kind of got a purplish tinge, but it's not really purple. But when I do my follow-up, I'll hold it up against one that hasn't been dyed, and that'll be the true test of what color is it now. So it's kind of cool. But then, of course, all the trims and whatnot, and just all the different color of purple. Like there's so much different colors of purple in here when you look at it. in this aspect. This, I don't see any color on it at all. But again, I'll hold it up to a piece that hasn't been dyed and I'll see if it actually has changed color at all. But yeah, just lots of fun colors of purple. And who doesn't love purple? This is that fuzzy white stuff. And until that's dry, it's going to kind of look yucky. The color is beautiful, but just the texture kind of looks yucky because, when you take something fuzzy and get it wet, well, it doesn't look as nice. But there is all that, just so many different shades of purple. It's wonderful. But once it dries, and these are the purple flowers I just like dipped. And they are gorgeous. And they've got a little bit, like this one here is dark on this side, but lighter on that side. Darker specks on that one. But until they actually dry, that'll be the true test of what it. And the burlap actually is turning more purple now than it was when I first did it. But it's still a maroonish purple. Oh, still smells like burlap though. And then my purple flowers that I did these. These are going to be gorgeous in different things. Like how they did. I'll probably do some more of those, but in different shades of purple. So then, like some lighter ones and do like 3 or 4 different shades of purple, because then you can mix and match the colors a little bit. So that'll be great. So now I'm going to take off my gloves. And yep, I'm purple.
Look at this. And I've already been.
That's not going to come out for a few days. So.
Oh, well, I was going to say hopefully soap and water. I guess number one, I think it would be, we'd feel more clumsily, we'd be working more clumsily if we used rubber gloves like for dishwashing.
Yeah.
But at least those things probably are more resilient. So
I probably would have been okay if I would have cut my fingernails back a little bit, but that's okay.
But
Small price to pay.
I also think that using maybe a barrier cream on one's hands would help resist the color.
Yes, there is supposed to be creams.
Yeah, I want to wind this up because we've been here over 2 hours and we probably need to let people get on with their day or start their own dye jobs. Okay, so let's see. I think Jonna was saying that her Michael's is an hour away, so she got her writ at Joy Mart. I guess I might have to start calling it Joy Mart.
Yeah, Walmart does carry it, yeah.
Sharon is saying, please note that you can't use acrylic paint on speedball plates. So yeah, that was the lesson I learned, and now I have a return to do. Beth is saying, these have been fabulous, ladies. Thank you so much. And so cool. Sharon is saying metallic trims can be colored with alcohol inks and markers. And Beth is saying purple fingers are pretty. Well,
yeah, they are.
Thank you for that. Okay, so Sharon, make sure that you send both of us your mailing address so we can get prizes off to you. And our intention is to do another live focusing on alcohol ink, not only alcohol ink on fabric, but on other, metallic and other types of substances. So once we have that date scheduled, there will be a poster and notification out there. Hopefully those of you who haven't subscribed to either my channel and Caroline's channel have done so. We also hope that you've given this thumbs up and so on. And just thank you so much for hanging out with us because
yes, I appreciate everybody that was here and watched. It was a fun day, and this is my cleanup rag. So,
That's cool too. I like the turquoise.
yeah.
So thanks so much, guys, and we will be back again one day fairly soon, I think, to do the acrylic, or not the acrylic, the alcohol ink stuff. So hopefully you will be able to report back to us that you've tried some dyeing on your own. Oh, you know what? Somewhere in this, Sharon typed in about those threads. Oh, she says that she wraps about 10 to 20 meters on a clothespin, but less works better. And in fact, I had a ball of string I was going to try to dye. Anyway, with that, we will stop here. Again, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.